Hi guys, Dr. Justin Burter, Tattoo Business Doc. As you know, we've got a website, www.tattoobusinessdoc.co.za. Right guys, so I did have a question from someone asking me, in my view, what is the state of our nation? So, man, if you ask me that question, and I have to answer it, you've got to toe the line. You've got to be very democratic or diplomatic or politically correct when you answer that question. First and foremost, guys, we are one bad decision away from anarchy. Right now, one bad decision. Be it by the government, and the ANC, trust me, is the national party through and through. Anything that's different is National Party apartheid was white, post-democratic is the ANC, and they're black. So we got to understand that. That is the dynamics of the African world and African market. And the more you try and dress it up as being a democratic society, the less it is understandable. Because then you sit there and you're like, really? Is this happening? And we call ourselves a democratic country? And we've got such a robust constitution. Guys, the constitution is allowing for racist laws. Like the apartheid government's constitutions allowed for racist laws. But you've got to deal with it. I always say, if you are a businessman in South Africa, businessman, businesswoman, entrepreneur, doesn't matter, and you've got a business going, man, that's a skill. That is really, really a skill. That should be taught at varsity every day. Because South Africa's got minefields all around us. I mean, BEE, restrictions, laws, FIC, compliance here, compliance there, employment equity, affirmative action. You've got to do this, you've got to do that, preferential procurements, this, that, and next thing. Every day you've got to think about 100 million things just to open up your shop doors. And a lot of people also, when they take pension, all those kind of things, they decide, let me go and open up a pet shop, for argument's sake. All right, you were an engineer for most of your life, now you're going to open up a pet shop. I think there's enough pet shops. So, what is the state of our nation? It is one bad decision away from anarchy. That's where we are. Doesn't matter if it's government or a decision you take in your business. Guys, it is tough out there. If you drive around and you see what's actually taking place, and I do. If you go to, Germiston, for argument's sake, the lake, the CBD, there's so many beautiful old buildings that's bricked up. They've bricked up the windows and the doors to keep people out, to stop people from hijacking buildings. You drive around in Pretoria. This is our capital city. It looks like it's a long drop. Okay? It is. There is flats, they don't have power. There's some of the buildings where people live that there's some of the flats is being burned. It's been burnt, or you see the fire damage, and there's still people living in that building. People are hijacking old factories, the industrial areas. Man, people on the street where I live, which is a very workers' class suburb in Pretoria, the amount of people that now live on the street has become insane. And these are warning signs, and people need to understand that our official unemployment rate is about 33%, roughly about there. Now, the calculation of that, good Lord. You know what? I don't think it's people with a maths degree that worked out how to calculate that. But you've got to understand that a third of our population is without work. A third. And some other countries that do their own polling and stuff say it's more close on to about 42%. So that means almost half of our country is without work. And you see it, you smell it, I think our state of our nation currently as we sit, and no matter we're selling our soul to the Chinese, the government's borrowing so much money that our grandchildren's grandchildren will be paying off the debts this government has made. I always also sometimes say to my clients, you know what, you must actually go and say sorry to your children. You must go and beg their forgiveness. Because the people of the Republic of South Africa is allowing a parliament of 300 odd people to dictate your life, your every move. We're allowing it. South Africa, and this is the funniest thing, we always find a solution. Okay, we don't have power. Let's go get generators and solar and because we can't rely on Eskom. And what does Eskom do? They go and burn diesel that it's, my lord, they ship by ship by ship of diesel to keep the power on. And we as South Africans, we always just are we're clever, man. We're terribly clever because we always find a way out. And it's such a wonder to actually see how people just find a solution. And in that, I know that the entrepreneurial spirit is very much alive in South Africa. And yes, unfortunately, there is the B tender entrepreneurs and the B guys, and those guys have got no clue what they're doing, but they're getting the business and making the money. Yes, that's not going to go away. Until this government's completely bankrupt, that will not go away. And they are beyond bankrupt. I laughed. I listened today to our Minister of Finance that is saying to Johannesburg Metro, sorry, we're not giving you more money because you have mal-administered your whole budget. They the minister, and I applaud him for that. He's finally saying, sorry, Johannesburg Metro, go clean your front step before we give more money. And I mean, that I must applaud. For the first time ever, an ANC finance manager has found his balls to say, why must we give you more money when you waste every cent you get? I mean, and that's where we are, guys. And that's one decision in the right direction. That's the first decision this government has made in the right direction. So, guys, all I say is, our state of our nation is but one bad decision from anarchy. Just one bad decision. Be it a business, be it the government, be it in your own lives. Making the wrong decision can cost you absolutely everything. And that is where our nation now stands. It's one decision away from anarchy, from utter destruction. Anybody that focuses on the economy like I do, with all my degrees, my big brain, everything else, is what I get paid to do. And it's kind of hardwired into me. Whenever I drive anywhere, I always look. I'm in the R21. The people there in Tembisa has been stealing the street poles and lights for months and months. And the cables. And I mean, they've dug trenches underneath to put cable in there. People stole that. They put the cable up there 20 meters into the sky. They stole that. They're even stealing the lights off those massive poles. And now our SoNA has just decided we're not replacing it anymore. So if you drive literally in between, let's say, Pomona, Kempton, the Benoni off ramp, all the way past Olifantsfontein, you'll see that all those lights are like hanging. There's no lights on, cables are missing, everything else. Because that's Tembisa. No matter how much you spend on bringing the infrastructure back to where it should be, unless the people stop stealing, that won't fix it. Everybody's going crazy about pit toilets. But guys, you don't understand. You can't have toilets at school and a pit toilet at home. People don't understand that. Kids don't understand that. And society is in desperate state. It's one bad decision away. And our lives as we know it will be impacted so badly that, you've got to look at your children in their faces and apologize to them. You've got to beg their forgiveness. Because if we allow that one bad decision, if we allow that, we're party to it. And that's the reality of it. Then you are party to these bad decisions. And that's why I say sometimes to people, you best beg. I don't have children. I don't have children. I would be terrified for my children. Because our futures now is so uncertain, it's not even funny. And those kids have to stick it out until they're 18 years old and they've got to start their own lives. And guys, if you see the desperation out there, I always laugh. The people in the east of Pretoria, they don't know what the hell's going on around them. They live in this security bubble. The rest of us that don't, we've got to deal with crime. We've got to deal with all the, people living in their own feces and pee in front of shops. You know, you can't go to shops on the road here because you get pestered by 5 homeless people. You know, please buy us bread, please buy us bread. Guys, it's getting terribly bad. And that's what I'm saying. We are one decision away from anarchy. One bad decision. Just one. And we will all regret it. Guys, as always, got your back. And I'll see you in the next session.